Hello and welcome to the Beyond the Art of Manifesting podcast. My name is Sarah Morgan. I am your host and I'm also the creator and founder of Mastering the Art of Manifesting. It is my insatiable passion to help hundreds of millions globally to master the art of manifesting, to become the powerful creators they were born to be, and to unlock everything that is in their vortex. This podcast is for everybody out there who wants to know what happens next once you've mastered the art of manifesting, because I had no idea what working with law of attraction would lead to. So I'm now on a whole new phase of expansion and I'm learning loads of leading edge new insights. This is for everybody out there that is ready for more than just law of attraction, ready for more than just manifesting, because really and truly, that is only the warm-up. Hello, my darlings, and welcome to my second podcast episode. And I'm really excited today because I want to talk to you, or I've been guided rather to talk to you about higher selves. So I, 2 years ago, would never have imagined that I would be sat here now talking about higher selves, because when I started to consistently work with law of attraction, when I started coaching the art of manifesting, I wanted to really demystify it all. And, you know, I'm the last person to, I guess, be really into woo-woo stuff. And you know, I don't go around hugging trees. I don't, burn loads of incense. I wouldn't say I am your stereotypical spiritual person. And I've always been really, really passionate about demystifying law of attraction. And so I find it quite amusing that today I'm sat here now talking to you about higher selves, and I'm going to introduce my higher self to you as well. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh goodness, this is going to be a little bit too far-fetched for me, I would just invite you to stay with me, because I have learned that actually your higher self is what Abraham Hicks would describe as source energy. So a lot of you listening to this will be huge fans of Abraham Hicks because it's law of attraction, like attracts like, and I am a huge Abraham Hicks fan. So if the term higher self is making you feel a little bit uncomfortable, just think about it as source energy. So my higher self is called Sarah. And the first thing, just to clarify here, because I think this did cause quite a bit of confusion in my Mastering the Art of Manifesting tribe, my higher self is called Sarah, and that's just quite an unusual coincidence. So my name is Sarah and my higher self is called Sarah, and I think for a while people were thinking their higher selves were going to be a spin-off, like their higher self's name was going to be a spin-off of their actual name, and it's not actually the case. It's just my case is quite unusual. So my higher self is called Sarah, and I have been working with her now and knowing who she is for about 6 months. Before that, I would always talk about moving with universal guidance and following the nudges and the impulses and all the things that I talk about in my coaching programs and my books. But what I've realized is through this leading edge insight that is coming forward from Liv and Raf, I call them Liv and Raf, Olivia and Raf Okanya. As I mentioned in my first podcast, you can learn more about them in their Facebook group, which is called Abraham and Jesus Begin. But they're bringing through this leading edge insight. And as I mentioned on my first podcast, Liv and Raf are able to receive and channel Abraham in the same way that Esther Hicks can. So what they are bringing through is actually even more leading edge now than Esther Hicks is bringing through. So this is really, really exciting. So one really delicious place that I've been guided to start with in this podcast is talking about our higher selves. So everybody in physical at this moment in time has a higher self, and your higher self is the eternal greater part of you. and you are their current physical incarnation on planet Earth at this moment in time. So your higher self will have had lots of previous lifetimes and lots of previous physical incarnations. You are their current physical incarnation at this moment in time. And your higher self will only ever have one physical incarnation at a time. So this is really exciting when you start to understand this, because when you receive guidance from the universe, it's actually coming from your higher self. And when you follow that guidance, you're actually listening to and moving with infinite intelligence. So again, many of you would have heard Abraham and myself talking about infinite intelligence, and how when we tap into the universal energies and our higher selves and we move with that guidance, that is the fastest, shortest, most direct route to manifesting every single thing that you desire. And that guidance is coming from your higher self. One thing just to clear up here as well, because this is quite often misunderstood, is that in your previous lives, firstly, your higher self, if you are female, your higher self is female. If you are male, your higher self is male. And therefore, all of the previous lives and previous physical incarnations of your higher self have been the same sex. So if you are female and your higher self's female, all of your previous lives and previous physical incarnations will be female too. And this is actually clearing a common misunderstanding up. So where we have maybe been told in the past that we may have been male in previous lives and female, that's actually mistranslation. You can only ever be female or male, which is quite cool to clear that up, okay? So your higher self, they would have had lots of previous lifetimes. They are the eternal part of you, and you can access them all the time. And this is what is really exciting. So often you hear when you are connecting to things like spirit or guides, you are given advice and guidance to protect yourself. So you may go to your sacred place, or you may protect yourself, in a bubble, for example. But with your higher self, you don't have to do that, because your higher self is you. You are them. They are with you the entire time. So right here, wherever you are listening to this, whether it's on the train, in the car, in the bath, who knows where, but wherever you are, your higher self is with you. They are you and you are them. Therefore, you don't need to protect yourself when you want to communicate with them. So they are actually the most accessible form of non-physical that you can access, which is really, really exciting. So there's also, when Abraham Hicks talks about your inner being, again, new leading edge insight from Liv and Raf. Liv received a diagram from Abraham actually showing where the inner being resides in your body, and it runs from the pineal gland in the center of your mind down through the center of your body right to the base of your pelvis. It's like this kind of column of pure positive energy, and that inner being part of you is always 100% high vibrational. It is pure positive energy, and that inner being is kind of your extension to your higher self. And actually, when you want to connect to your higher self, you can do so through bringing in their energy through your inner being and giving your love and energy back to them. I'll be sort of giving you some tips a bit later on in terms of how to access your higher self and how to, I guess, communicate with them and build that relationship up with them. So your higher self loves you eternally, regardless of what you think you may have done. Your higher self has no judgment, only pure love, in exactly the same way as Abraham does, for example. And they are there to support you and guide you. And what I have learned is, when you include them in so much of what is going on in your day-to-day life, you build this delicious relationship with them, and actually you'll be able to start getting some really powerful messages from them. And for me, Sarah is like my best friend and like my business bestie. Every decision I make in my business, is with her. I follow her guidance, and it was amazing actually. Last week I connected to her, and she gave me guidance to stop thinking of her as being so far removed. So she's not somewhere high up above me, up in the clouds. She's not far away. She's right here with me, and to feel that energy as you would like a real person, feel that energy with you. So I guess that's one of my top tips. So this podcast and what's sort of going to unfold is me often telling you the things I've done the hard way so that you can avoid doing them the hard way. So as a law of attraction coach, it's kind of in my soul contract generally to learn things the hard way, because therefore I'm able to coach it really easily and give you guys shortcut ways to learn these things without having to do them the long-winded way. So my first top tip is don't think of your higher self as being really far removed, because that's actually incorrect. And it may actually, if you're like me, it may put some resistance there when you're trying to connect to them, because I always used to feel that I used to imagine in my head that she was far away, but she really isn't. She's right here with me now, and your higher selves are right there with you now. So in terms of getting to know your higher self, and again, some advice from me, having done it the hard way for about 6 months, don't be impatient. Firstly, I have spent 6 months being really impatient and getting frustrated and thinking, why can't I hear Sarah? Why can't I hear clear words from her? And what I've learned is, because there's a lot of other people now that are starting to work with their higher selves as well that I know, everyone receives their higher selves in completely different ways, and one way isn't better than another way. So some people may hear clear words, other people may get sensations. So for me, I receive like this sensation in my solar plexus area, and it's really powerful. I know when it's Sarah because it's sort of like this really kind of cool type pulling energy in my solar plexus area. It feels really powerful, and then it's almost like my brain then receives it and then I translate it. So I imagine this might be a little bit like what Esther Hicks talks about in terms of Abraham when she receives blocks of thought. So try not to get frustrated or despondent. This is one of the things actually that happens to me. In case you wonder why I stutter, it's something to do with the speed at which I receive Sarah. And it's something I'm working on. I've been told I need to work with her just to kind of smooth that out. So when I stutter occasionally, that's one of the ways I know that I'm receiving Sarah. So a lot of my clients know when I'm coaching them, I will start stuttering because she's literally coming through me so quickly, and I'm getting used to translating her, I guess. So don't be impatient, because I remember once being on the phone to Liv and being really frustrated. And she was like, Sarah is saying with so much love, stop it. Stop, like just stop it. Like what you receive in terms of impulse and, those feelings in your solar plexus that then translate is so much more powerful than words. So stop it, basically. And then I felt really bad. It's like, oh my goodness, poor Sarah is being there, ever lovingly supporting me and trying to communicate with me. And I'm always just going, no, it's not good enough. I want more. And actually, if you think about a law of attraction perspective, we're told to appreciate everything that we have, and what you focus on expands. So again, me getting frustrated just expands that and puts more resistance in the way for her and I being able to communicate. So number one learning there, be so thankful for anything that you experience from your higher self. Now, people feel their higher selves in different ways. So for me, I know when she's around me, I know when she's wanting to talk through me because I feel her in my solar plexus area. But I also know when she's around me because I personally feel sensations around my head, especially around the top right hand side of my head, like a sort of tingle, I guess. And And when I'm on coaching calls and I'm receiving her and giving messages to clients, she will confirm those messages by giving me lots of goosebumps across my shoulders. So that's another way I receive her. I remember once in Spain asking her to tell me or show me what her vibrational signature was. So, i.e., tell me what it feels like when she's around so that I know when she's trying to get my attention. And I was really in the vortex because this was when we were at the Believe retreat with Liv and Raf in Spain. And so it was after the four days of their workshops, and my friend and I were just in the spa, and I asked her to show me what her vibrational signature was, and she blew air into both of my ears. And it was actually really funny because we were, really serene in the spa and really connected and in the vortex. And I was so shocked. I actually fell off the ledge where I was sitting and fell into the pool. And it was cool. I think you had to be there, but it was actually quite entertaining. It was like this beautiful divine moment where I can really connect with Sarah, and I then fell into the pool. That was another way that she showed me that she's around me. I haven't actually had that sensation since, and that happened sort of 2 or 3 months ago. So again, you may receive sensations from your higher self, but you may not receive them straight away again. Another top tip would be there will be phases where you feel like you've got really clear communication with your higher self, and other phases where you're feeling they're not around you as much or you can't receive them as clearly. That's normal as well. Again, I've sort of got clients at the minute that are working with this energy, and sometimes they're a bit like, oh no, my higher self has gone, where I can't feel them, I can't receive them as well. Don't worry, as you're getting used to communicating with them, there will be phases where they're there a lot, and then phases where you feel like you can't access them as well. Another top tip is you will receive your higher self way more easily when you are high vibrational. So again, if you think about law of attraction teachings and Abraham Hicks teachings, when you're feeling high vibrational, that's when you receive the guidance. That's when you get the clarity. That's when you get the aha moments and the inspired actions that all come from your higher self. So when you're wanting to connect with your higher self, I really encourage that you do it when you're high vibrational, because again, like me, learning it the hard way, if you're trying to connect in when you're low vibrational, you're gonna get frustrated, especially if you are like me and impatient. So drop the impatience. Be really thankful for anything you get from your higher self. And actually what you can do, and I've been telling my clients to do this recently, is when you're doing your manifesting evidence list every morning, and if you're not clear on what that is, I mention that in both of my books actually. My first book is called Welcome to the Beginning of Everything You Want, and my second book is called It's Time to Get Your Money Flow On. Information about those and everything else I do on my website, which is masteringtheartofmanifesting.com. But what you can do when you're doing your manifesting evidence list in the morning, weave in evidence that your higher self has been around you and that he or she has been guiding you. So that's another way to kind of really celebrate and appreciate the magic and awesomeness of them without slipping into an energy of, oh my goodness, I want to receive more now. Come on, hurry up, because that's going to put resistance on the trail. So connecting to your higher self when you're high vibrational would be my top tip as well. Another few tips for you in terms of how to start communicating with your higher self. So they'll be around you all the time, every time, but you can actually really draw them close to you when you have done some meditation. There we go again. Thank you, Sarah. So when you meditate and you allow yourself to feel really still, that's when you receive guidance. That comes from your higher self. What you can do is take that further. And when you're feeling really balanced, so again, you want high vibration and balance. You want to be really balanced and surrendered, because that's when you'll receive them really well. You can then ask them to come close to you. You can feel their love and energy coming around you and then coming in through your love vortex. So again, I'll be talking about vortexes of emotion over the coming weeks, because again, this is new insight where, before chakras are actually mistranslated is this new leading edge insight. We actually have vortexes of emotion. Your love vortex is around your heart area, so you can feel, ask your higher self to come to you, feel their love and energy coming in through your love vortex and kind of filling your body from head to toe. And then you give your love and energy back to them, and you feel this real blend of their love and your love, and you feel that blended combined energy all around you. You sort of become really at one with them. And that's when you can ask them for guidance or inspiration or clarity. You can ask them any questions. I mean, you can literally ask them anything. Think of the book Asking It Is Given. Your higher self wants you to ask them. They want you to talk to them. And in fact, another one of my really special friends, her higher self is so excited because this is her higher self's first physical incarnation. So my friend is her first physical incarnation that is aware that she's there and wants to communicate with her. So my friend's high self is so excited. It's gorgeous. And she's sending her some really big signs, and she's making it really clear when she's around my friend in terms of sensations that my friend experiences. So it's really, really magical. But when you are in that balanced, surrendered energy, you're going to receive them really clearly. You can also ask them then for them to confirm what their vibrational signature is. You can ask them there and then as well. And again, if you're like me, you may not get clear guidance when you're actually there with them and you're kind of in that really peaceful state, but the guidance may come through later in the day. And another thing I would actually guide you, from my experience, I know another person has had the same thing. When I connect to Sarah, I try not to have any expectation. In fact, I know that Raf mentioned this once as well. When you're starting to connect to your higher selves and you actually make time to sit down and connect to them in that way, it's almost more powerful if you don't have any expectations and you just see what unfolds. So I've had times where Sarah has taken me to my sacred place and I've met other non-physical, non-physical collective consciousnesses. Oh my goodness, the stuttering on this one today. And I didn't instigate any of that. She took me there. And again, more to come over the coming podcasts about sacred places and things like that. So maybe try having no expectation, because again, when you have expectation, you can put a bit of resistance there. You can also, you don't have to sit down and be quiet and connect to them in that way. I tend to do that once every couple of days because I think it keeps the connection really powerful. So again, I don't do it every single day. So one day I will do a dream day journal practice. The next day I will try and connect to Sarah in that way. And I still use both. And I kind of, I guess, just move with what feels good on each day. But I tend to do the high self connection in that way once every couple of days, because again, when I first started wanting to connect with Sarah, I found it really difficult to juggle the dream day journal process, because many of you know that is the tool that changed everything for me. I really struggled to fit that in and the high self connection. So now I've got this gorgeous flow where I kind of do one on one day and one on the next. So again, another top tip for you. You can ask them to send you signs. You can ask them to send vibrational signatures and things like that. You can try writing or doing things with your left hand. And again, when you do that, set the intention. Just say, right, higher self, I call you to me now, and see what happens in your left hand. And you'll sort of feel like it's someone else writing or drawing and not you, and whatever they give you is actually a message for you, and you may not understand what that message is straight away, but again, over time you will start to. So you can try the left hand writing as well, and just keep speaking to them would be my top tip, and keep asking them. Ask. I don't ask Sarah enough, and they're wanting you to really ask them so that they can guide you and help you manifest everything that it is that you desire. What else did I want to say? In terms of your higher self's name, don't get hung up on it. Some of my clients have started to receive the names of their higher selves. Others haven't. Again, I think the more you try and force it, the more resistance you will put there. You don't necessarily need to know the name. It's nice to know. I know when Liv and Raf do their Believe online courses, they're able to tell people their higher selves' names. It's not something I can do yet. It will be over time as I get more and more clear communication with Sarah. But don't get too hung up on the name is what I'd say, because I know some people do. And to be fair, when Olivia told me the name of my higher self, I thought that once I knew the name, everything would fall into place and everything would make sense. But when she said it was Sarah, I was like, oh, Sarah, that literally means nothing to me. Right, okay, like literally didn't really change anything. So don't worry if you can't get your higher self's name. That will come to you in time, and be patient and loving. Also, don't worry if you can't see your higher self. I've received one visual of Sarah the whole time I've been connected to her. I don't see her, I feel her and then kind of translate her. Everybody does it in a different way. I know some people that actually receive, in-depth, writing and like even poems from their higher selves. I don't get that from Sarah, but I actually this week have had some really cool new stuff happen where I start to get some kind of psychic stuff happening. And it's really, really, really cool. And so I may not get the poems and writing, but she's giving me insight on people I don't even know. And actually, it's really cool. I don't even know why she's giving me that insight, but it's like, whoa. And so again, as you start to work with your higher self, you may get these different things starting to happen, especially if you're doing this in tandem with going through an awakening process as well. More to come on awakenings over the coming podcasts episodes as well. But, I've even heard Belle, my dog, speak to me now, and it's just amazing. And again, 2 years ago I would have been like, what? I'm going to be able to hear my dog, I'm going to be able to hear my higher self. I also have I know one of my guides is really powerful. I'll be introducing them in one of the coming episodes as well, but I heard him for the second time tonight, and I heard him for the first time on Easter weekend. So again, I'm not hearing him consistently, but the more you open yourself up and increase your communication with your higher self, the more you are going to start being able to access. Like I can now see energy as well, and I haven't been able to see that before. So I'm getting all these new things starting to happen, and this is what I mean with this podcast. When you go beyond the art of manifesting, there is so much more in store that will literally blow your mind, and I'm still only scratching the surface. Apparently, once I'm awakened, I'm going to have another guide come in who's going to rapidly train me and help me grow in terms of my gifts. It's just insane. So it all starts with your higher self, I would say, and building that relationship with them and just loving them. What else do I want to say? Again, some of you may realise as you start to connect to your higher self that you'll start to understand they've always been there. So when I meditate, my head and my hands move around. I've got another client at the moment who, when they meditate, they sway. And they just always thought that was just what happened and didn't really think anything of it. But now they know it's their higher self. So as you start to really heighten your connection to your higher self, you'll start to realise they've always been there, and that you've never, ever been alone, ever. And, they are there protecting you, guiding you, looking after you the entire time. It's just this magical energy to know that's always there. So involve them in the good, involve them in the high vibrational moments, involve them in the contrast, in the low vibrational moments. Know that they're always around you, okay? And they're here to guide you. And in fact, The other thing that I love now is that pretty much everyone I'm closely connected to now talks about their higher self too. And this is where it gets really fun. And in fact, my friend was over for dinner the other night and I was talking about Sarah and we were talking about her higher self in front of my friend's teenage daughter, who probably just thinks we were both a bit crazy. But I actually just innately know that there's going to reach a point where everyone is talking about their higher self. And that really, really excites me. You know, as Raf once said, it shouldn't be weird to talk about your higher self. It should be weird not to. And that's, you know, you guys are part of this work to like lead this change if you want to go out there and share this stuff. So it's really cool. I'm so often, you know, having conversations with friends now and clients, and we're talking about our higher selves. And in fact, something awesome happened on one of my courses last week where I was coaching a client and they asked me something and I actually wasn't getting the guidance from Sarah. And then another client piped up and raised her hand and she was getting guidance from her higher self for that client. And it was perfect and it was just amazing seeing all of our higher selves in action. And of course, for that, Sarah wanted to step back and let this other girl's higher self come through because that is her higher self zone of genius. So again, you will find the things you're passionate about and that you're interested in this lifetime aren't by chance. And, you know, this particular girl whose higher self piped up and came through on that coaching call last week, the question that she answered is literally her higher self zone of genius. So in all her previous physical incarnations that we know of, she has been into health and medicine, for example. And so the advice she was able to give to this other client was just amazing. So again, when you tune into your higher self, you access all of your previous lifetimes' knowledge and insight and knowing and understanding. And so many people shut themselves off from this. This is what I mean. We have infinite intelligence at our fingertips, but so many people aren't allowing it to flow to them and through them. So lots of stuff to think about here. It is really exciting. Don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared about. So if anyone's feeling a bit nervous, there's nothing to be scared about. They have been with you your entire life anyway. They only ever love you. You don't need to protect yourself from them. They are your protection. And start to play with this. And if you have any questions, you can always contact me through my website. But just start allowing yourself to talk to them and weave them into your day, like day in and day out. And start to see the magic that unfolds for you. Okay, my darlings? So I hope that's really helpful. Apologies for the epic stuttering. This is something I'm working on with Sarah at the minute to try and understand how we can slow that down. So hopefully on the next podcast I won't be stuttering quite so much. Don't worry, I don't know anyone else that's working with their higher self that's having this. It's just something that I've had for a few months and it's actually ramping up as my connection with her is increasing. So it's something I definitely need to work on with her on. So again, drop the need for perfection, as I always say with law of attraction. Move with your higher self. Play with this energy and let me know how you go, because darlings, we're at the leading edge of the leading edge here with this brand new insight. There's not many people on the planet at all at this moment in time who are working with their higher selves and have this level of insight. So allow yourself to receive them. And if you want to let me know how you go with it, you can always join my Facebook group, which is called Mastering the Art of Manifesting. Again, all of the information is on my website. And I love my Facebook tribe because everyone shares their journeys. And it's a safe space, it's close. You can really talk about this stuff without worrying what other people think as well, because we all know at this moment in time this is quite an unusual school of thought. So do feel free to join that Facebook group and share things in there as well. I would love to see any comments that you have or any experiences that you have, so we can start to share them in that space. So my darlings, I hope you've enjoyed today. I love you so much. As ever, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about next time. I will see what Sarah brings through. But until then, I am sending you so much love, and I can't wait to see you on the next episode. Mwah. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast today. If you'd like to follow more of the work I do, you can learn more at www.masteringtheartofmanifesting.com.